Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I want to talk to you about where I believe you should have your car maintained, serviced, or repaired. Now, this is going to be a very dynamic subject because there's a lot of variables that you have to take into consideration. But nonetheless, I'm going to try to cover them all. So here we go. There are many dynamics in getting your car maintained and serviced. The first category being the age and make of the vehicle. Of course, if you have a new vehicle that is still under manufacturer warranty, you want to get that car serviced at an authorized service center. And if you have a car that is a specialty vehicle, something like a Mercedes or a Lamborghini or something like that, you definitely want to use a dealership or a place that is very familiar with that type of vehicle that has certified mechanics working there. Now, the other dynamics is the number of places where you can get servicing done. Number one, a dealership. Number two, an authorized service center. Number three, a specialty shop. Number four, an independent shop that may not have authorized service technicians there. Number five, you can self-serve. Number six, you can get servicing done at your chain quick stop places like Peck Boys, Midas, and places like that. And last but not least, your oh so familiar shade tree mechanics that your family or friends may recommend. For starters, let's talk about your newer vehicles. If you have a newer vehicle like my mom does, you want to really take in consideration to have your car serviced at the dealer of the manufacturer. It is almost critical to maintaining your warranty that your car is serviced at a dealer or an ASE certified mechanics shop to keep your warranty intact and enforceable. So regardless of the make and model, if that car is still under warranty, you want to get it serviced at an authorized dealer or an ASE certified mechanic. Now, I will say this. If you own a Lexus, I would not hesitate to have the vehicle serviced, maintained, or repaired at a Toyota dealer. If you own a Chevrolet, it's probably just fine to get it maintained or serviced at any GM dealership. If you have a Honda, it's probably fine to have it serviced at an Acura dealership and vice versa. So, you know that there are related car manufacturers that have their upper scale and lower scale vehicles, and it's probably fine to cross those lines and having your vehicle maintained and serviced, especially if that other dealership is at an inconvenience to have it serviced. Say for instance you live in a small town and they have a Honda dealership but they don't have an Acura dealership, and the closest Acura dealership is a 2-hour drive. I would probably take my Acura to the Honda dealership. The important thing in these cases is to keep the vehicle serviced at an authorized service center so that you can keep your warranty intact and enforceable. Now, there are some situations where you may slip and not have that done, and it doesn't void the entire warranty. An example, if you don't have your oil changed, that should not terminate your transmission warranty or the warranty on your doors and windows. So keep that in mind, but you want to keep the entire car covered by the warranty. So that primarily covers newer vehicles and vehicles under warranty. I would say vehicles between new and 5 years old. Next, we'll talk about vehicles that may be between 5 and 10 years old. These vehicles that are within 5 and 10 years old are probably still in very good condition, and if you want to maintain their value, or resale value I should say, you should strongly consider continuing to have these vehicles serviced at an authorized service center that has ASC certified technicians, or better yet, the dealership. It may be a little more expensive, but not always. I once had a Honda Accord that I had serviced at the dealership because that dealership had prices that was competitive to your independent shops that had licensed service technicians. So, in that case, I took my Honda Accord straight to the dealer for almost everything I needed to have done. You really should use a shop that has ASC certified mechanics. Those mechanics have a lot of training and keep their skills honed on the different technologies that affect vehicles. I've even seen dealerships that had competitive pricing on oil changes. For instance, the Ford dealership that services my mom's car, they check several things when they do the oil change. They'll check the doors, the windows, make sure none of that stuff is binding. So they're doing things that help covers the warranty, and yet alone they only charge about $29 to $34 for that service. So it may be beneficial to still take your car to a dealership to have oil changes done, because they do check other things and let you know when things are coming near the end of life, things like your brakes. Now, if you have a specialty vehicle, vehicles that, let's just face it, are probably over-engineered, like your Porsches or your Mercedes-Benz, I recommend that you always take them to the dealership or a service independent shop that specializes in that brand of vehicle. A lot of times those specialty shops will have all of the test equipment necessary to properly diagnose problems with that vehicle. Every once in a while, they'll run into a problem that'll need more expensive equipment, and in those cases, they often won't charge for services that they've done, but they'll recommend you to where you need to go to get that extra service done. So, independent shops that specialize in your vehicle or the dealer is a likely place for vehicles that are overly engineered. I strongly recommend that you use a place that specializes in your type of vehicles. They'll normally have technicians there that are trained to do the work, and they'll often give good warranties on the parts and sometimes even the labor after the work is completed. If you have a specialty vehicle and you want to find a shop to work on it, you can often spot those places because they have several of those type of cars or trucks there, and they'll have different year models, different makes, different models, and those places are often equipped to properly service the car that you have. You can sometimes ask other people that drive your type of vehicle where they get their service at, and pay that place a visit and find out if they can help with your maintenance and repairs. When it comes to vehicles that are over 10 years old, I don't recommend taking those to the dealer for two reasons. One, the dealership may not service those aged vehicles, and they're going to discourage you from getting them fixed. They're going to give you high estimates often, and sometimes they don't even have technicians left at their dealership that are trained to work on those vehicles that are in excess of 10 years old. A perfect example of this would be that you're located in a town that has one dealership. Let's just say, for instance, a Volvo dealership. And just for kicks, let's say that that Volvo dealership is only 7 years old. Well, if you have a 10-year-old vehicle, they may not have a mechanic there that was trained to work on a 10 or 15-year-old car. So taking your car to that dealership may be a challenge to that dealership as well as your pocket. Oftentimes when you have a vehicle that is in excess of 10 years old, all of the mechanics that used to work at the new car dealership have all phased out of that dealership, and they're now working in independent shops, usually independent shops that specialize in your brand. So if you have a Volvo check around your town for a mechanic that just works on Volvos, or maybe Volvos and 2 or 3 other types of vehicles. They may be the best place to get your car serviced, usually charged between 50 and 75 cents on the dollar when compared to dealer pricing, and often will know the tricks and other little things to help keep your car serviced and maintained properly. For instance, a vehicle like mine, it's real important to replace a heater core and maybe some other parts in the car, like old heater hoses and stuff like that, when a new car dealership may not be looking out for me when it comes to those things that have reached the end of life. Now, if you have a common car, a car that I say you see every day, you know, like a Toyota Camry or a Honda Accord or a Ford Taurus, you can often get those cars serviced at multiple places. Dealerships, independent shops, chain type of stores, even your backyard mechanics, especially if you have a common problem like the car won't crank, the alternator's dead, the starter's bad. You can often take those type of vehicles just about anywhere to get serviced and maintained. However, if you have a car that has a little bit different temperament, like a Volvo or a Mini or a Porsche, you really want to try to find a technician or an independent shop that specializes in that kind of vehicle. Now, oftentimes it's actually better to service your own vehicle if you have some mechanical skills or you have really good detailed instructions to follow when doing maintenance or repairs on your own vehicle. I don't recommend this if your vehicle is under 5 years of age, but if your vehicle is over 5 years old and you're doing basic maintenance or repairs, I strongly encourage it for 2 reasons. 1, you know the quality of parts that you receive, and 2, you know if the work was done properly because you did it yourself. Now, when I'm looking at independent shops, I kind of categorize them in 2 different areas. One being a shop that specializes in certain vehicles. They normally can also work on other vehicles if the vehicles are not that complicated. And 2, shops that work on your general vehicles that are generally not good at working on vehicles like Mercedes or vehicles that are overly engineered. So, whatever type of vehicle you have, keep that in mind. Another category of automobile service that you often are faced to choose is your chain service centers. That would be your places like Midas or your places like Pet Boys and places like that. I normally try to advise people to get certain things done there and don't get into things that require extensive troubleshooting. For instance, I don't have a big issue with buying tires from Pet Boys, but I do try to let those service centers know not to do any other servicing on my vehicle. Focus on the tires, get my car in there, get me out, and leave it at that. If you have muffler problems or exhaust problems, Midas can usually handle stuff like that. Will I ask them to troubleshoot some kind of SRS system or some kind of airbag issue on my car? Absolutely not. You want to take that to a specialty shop or to the dealer. Last but not least, you're looking at your shade tree mechanics. These are generally people that are very mechanically inclined. They do service and maintain their own vehicles. They may have a small herd of their own vehicles, and they sometimes specialize in certain vehicles. And if that's the case, that they specialize in your type of vehicle, man, you're probably just fine letting them tinker and repair your vehicle. However, if you're looking at a guy that loves servicing Fords, he loves servicing pickup trucks, I would probably keep my Mercedes or my Volvo away from their yard. Also, when you're dealing with that type of shade tree mechanic, you know, pretty much like myself, that will service my own cars and then service a few cars of other people I know, you want to make sure that you're not exceeding that person's capabilities. For instance, I would never try to take on a transmission job. I simply don't have a shop, I don't have the equipment, and I don't have the necessary tools to service, repair, or rebuild a transmission. So I have no desire to do that. Now, you may find a guy that's willing to learn and he's pretty ambitious. You don't want him learning and being ambitious when it comes to your vehicle, especially if that's a vehicle that you need to drive daily. So take that into strong consideration to stay away from shade tree mechanics that, one, don't specialize in your type of vehicle, two, don't have the equipment or the ability to fix the kind of problem that you have. There's a new breed of mechanic that has surfaced, I'd say, in the last 5 or 10 years, and that is your mobile mechanic. Sometimes these mechanics are ASE certified, and they have equipment to do certain levels of troubleshooting and things like that. Normally, these mechanics have the, I would say, discernment to know when they're getting over their head and will back away from your vehicle if you have contacted them to service or repair your vehicle. So it's not against my policy or thoughts to have a mobile mechanic service or repair your car. You just want to know that they're, equipped to take care of the job. And don't forget, there's always towing services available that can transport your vehicle to a place that can properly service or maintain it. A couple things you want to keep in mind when dropping your car off for service. One, you want your vehicle to be as clean as possible. You don't want the service station or the techs to misunderstand a dirty vehicle for a vehicle that you don't care for. You want them to do their best to take care of your vehicle, get it in good repair, and not return it to you in a worse condition than you gave it to them in. Another thing is, you don't want to tell them to take all the time they need. They will take all the time they need, but you don't want them to have the vehicle longer than they need to, because things can go wrong. I've had a car dropped off before at a body shop. They used my car to run errands. They gave it back to me with paint overspray and things like that. You just don't want that to happen to your vehicle. I hope this video was pretty clear and letting you know my opinions and suggestions as to where that you should get your car serviced. Feel free to leave questions and comments below, and there will be people or myself that will be glad to answer. Thank you very much for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.